in light of recent news of Nintendo going through with filing a lawsuit against Pocket Pair, a lot of people have talked about it, and there have been a few different posts that have come out about it. And I wanted to give a day or two to let certain things settle before I jumped on it like a lot of other people, which is kind of bad for the algorithm, I know. But I wanted a little bit more time to where I could quickly gather information and be like, okay, here's a synthesis of what's going on. And there was a lot that I found even within the day of me finding out about it and it being announced that led to a lot of sketchy business practices. So here is Palworld's basically reaction to the Nintendo lawsuit. It's the exact same thing they posted on their news page, but basically, yeah, they filed a suit against for patent infringement. They've received notice and will begin legal proceedings and investigations into it. They're unaware of specific patents that they're being accused of, and haven't been notified of such details. So this is a big thing of you've violated our patents, and they don't tell you what patents you've violated, basically. And this is a sketchy practice. This comes down to a sketchy practice because even YouTube does this, and other platforms where it's you violated our terms of service or our community guidelines, and therefore you will be punished. And then you ask for specifics of where, and they just link you to the whole thing, not specific clause. They don't even give you a specific clause. But when you're not notified of specifics of what you can correct, it just creates the problem. You become a bully to someone that is smaller than you. And that's where the power dynamic really kills everything. So Pocket Pair is a small indie company based in Tokyo. Goal is to create fun games, continue to pursue the goal. Palworld was a surprise success this year for both gamers and for us. Yeah, nobody was expecting Palworld, Pokemon with Gun. Blown away by the amazing response and working hard to make it even better. It had performance issues for the longest time. My fans spun up a lot. I haven't played it recently to see how the performance compares, but I would imagine it's better, and I don't have to restart the game every half an hour maybe. Continue to improve Palworld, strive to create a game that our fans can be proud of. Unfortunately, it will be forced to allocate significant time to matters unrelated to game development due to this lawsuit, which Nintendo should have been doing rather than doing this. Honestly, if they would have made Pokemon better and more appealing, then maybe they wouldn't have to worry about this, but that's not the case. People kept on dogging on Pokemon for being so bad, then Palworld comes around, it's hey, look, it's a really cool game. Yeah, sure, it's dog water, but it's got a lot, it's dog water early access, but it's got a lot of features that are really fun and very innovative, rather than just the same thing that we keep pushing out over and over. And of course, you've got the whole Palworld, copy to Pokemon thing going. That's not what Nintendo is. Palworld copied creatures, but that's not what the lawsuit is over. To our utmost for our fans, to ensure that indie game developers are not hindering or discouraged from pursuing their creative ideas, we apologize to our fans and supporters. As always, thank you for your continued support of Palworld and Pocket Pair. So that's their kind of response. We are going to do our best to fight this and investigate it, kind of figure out what exactly we're being accused of. We wish we didn't have to allocate resources to it, but we want to make a better game, unlike Nintendo, obviously. But this also means that Nintendo's probably announcing a new game, honestly. Because usually, again, the weather vanes tell me, oh, they're about to announce a new game, and it probably has something to do with monsters. Okay, wow. Monster catching, let's go. Oh, come on, don't do this to me. Okay, here it is. This is the one I want. So Grimes commented about it soon after. Palworld explodes into the scene in February. Patent Balls filed in May, patent granted in August. Nintendo sues Palworld the following month. Nintendo used lawfare to kill an indie studio that embarrassed them by creating a better Pokemon-style game than they did, and I don't support it. After all these years, they just filed the patent this year. Coincidence? I think not. So here's the thing. If the screenshots are accurate, then yeah, this is very scummy. So, like, the funny thing is it's a storage medium, storing game program, game system, game apparatus, and game processing method. So you have them using this vague term that actually opens a wide, broad deal with things. So in a first mode, an aiming direction in a virtual space is determined based on the second operation input, and a player character is caused to launch in the aiming direction. An item that affects a field character disposed on a field in the virtual space based on a third operation input. So they're basically taking the mechanic of we're aiming our mouse at a thing and throwing a thing at it. In a second mode, the aiming direction is determined based on the second operation input, and the player character is caused to launch in the aiming direction, a fighting character that fights based on the third operation input. What I'm seeing here is we've used vague wording to determine that, like, our game, technically, like, indirectly, our games are covered, but we are more going after the idea that Palworld had, where you can use your mouse or joystick to aim at a creature using an aiming reticle and throwing an object at it in order to make it work. So some people saying that, like, oh, if you just use a cube instead of a ball, then it won't infringe on copyright. No, incorrect. That's not what they're doing. They're saying any object. Okay. So yeah, Nintendo's infuriated Palworld wasn't able to be charged on design copyright grounds. They created a patent for the game mechanic, pointing and aiming an item for launch, specifically just to sue Palworld. Nintendo fans are stupid to think it's for trademark infringement. No, literally, like, people have been arguing, like, oh, look, Palworld copied your thing. They couldn't do anything about, like, oh, they copied our creatures? Well, we can't do that. So what do? We file a patent, which is probably what they did while they were going after, Tropic Haze. And then we will go from there. Which, again, is really scummy, because, what? Yeah, Tropic Haze was back then, so they were probably working on the patent while they were litigating against Tropic Haze for the Switch stuff, for Yuzu. And so now they finally have the patent granted after some time, and the dust is settled over everybody screaming about Palworld, and now they're bringing up the Palworld dust again, which is really, really scummy. You did, like, these two things at the same time. Ugh. So, then here's Board Boar. Everyone talking about Palworld versus Pokemon debacle. Look here, Pokemon and Nintendo filed patents to the mounting system and the throw ball to summon and fight on May of 20... So here's the thing, the mounts system, let's see. Non-transitory computer-readable storage medium having stored there in game program, game system, information process. An example of a game program, a ground boarding target object or an air boarding target object is selected by a selection operation, and a player character is caused to board and select boarding target object. If the player character aboard the air boarding target object moves toward the ground, the player character is automatically changed to the state where the player character is aboard the ground boarding target object, and the ground brought into the state where the player character can move on the ground. This is the weirdest, like, wording ever for, like, a mounting system. And what does that mean about World of Warcraft, who's had this mechanic for years? I mean, really? Nintendo doesn't deserve to win this lawsuit at all. Okay. Board Boar further community noted himself, if we open in further tabs. Okay. It still doesn't explain why such gameplay elements are being patented, though. Okay. Flat patch. Okay, whatever. Oh my goodness. I'm not gonna go. Well, I don't know. Again, World of Warcraft has this mounting mechanic too, so are they going to sue Blizzard over it now? Like, really? And look, did they literally just copy a screen, like, do a drop of a screenshot of Palworld just to say, hey, look, they copied our thing? Or they stole our thing? Or what? So who's copying who? And remember, this is the same company that back in the day, oh, went and downloaded ROMs from a pirate website for their virtual console, and then later on took down that same pirate website or ROM website. So, I mean, really. Game program, game system, game device, processing method. Okay, so on computer, on first category group, including a plurality of types of capture items for capturing a field character range on a field in a virtual space is selected based on an operation of an input of pressing an operation button. The player character in the virtual space is made to take a stance to release the capture item, and when a second category group, including a plurality of types of combat characters that engage in combat is selected, the player character in the virtual space is made to take a stance to release the combat character. How many games have this mechanic and they're just barely patenting it? Like, really? Okay. Writable characters. So a player character is controlled based on an operational input with a virtual space when one of a plurality of types of writable characters that the player character can write is selected from among the characters owned by the player character, and a writing instruction is given the player character is made to write the selected writable character and made movable. When a first operation input is performed while the player character is in the air, the player characters. Okay, so they're literally patenting the routing mechanic for their games when World of Warcraft has it and a bunch of other indie games have had it for years, been using it, like Monster Sanctuary and so on. And now they're saying, this is ours now. We made this. Literally, it's the I made this meme going on right here. Based on the first, which is virtual input, when a second operation from the enemy direction is directed toward a field character, disposed on a field in virtual space, and the first indicator is displayed, making the player character perform an action of releasing capture item for the capturing field. What Nintendo games have this mechanic in them other than maybe Pokemon Legend Arceus? Like, they've literally almost never used this, where it's like, oh, we use processing, information processing device in the first mode determines the direction. Okay. It's literally like the most vague wording, and basically how I would interpret it is like you're aiming your thing at it, and you throw a thing to release the creature, and this is literally a mechanic a lot of other games have used. So how many other games has Nintendo going to litigate against? Just get money rather than make Pokemon better. Or how many people are going to strip Nintendo of this patent? Like, oh, no, don't worry about it. You're dumb. Get good next time. Computer, the information processing device, determining the direction of the aim in virtual space development. Having a player character perform an action of releasing a combat character that will engage in combat toward the direction. So, like, you're getting rid of fighting games too, maybe? In the second scene, in which the field character and the combat character in a non-combat state were in combat, determining the aiming direction based on an operation input. Having the player character perform an action of releasing a capture item, capturing the field character in the aiming direction when the capture item hits Once the field character capture success determination is made, whether or not the capture is successful, you're literally like, oh my goodness. Like, what do you do? Okay, so like maybe Ketai Denju Telefang doesn't fall under this because you're not throwing something at it to capture it. But like some parts of like these patents would apply to it technically, I think, because you have to call in a character, you're aiming at the field, and you're bringing them forward. Like, Nintendo, what are you doing? Like, literally patent trolling. Well, this damages other games too. It's not just Palworld. Yesterday, Nintendo and Pokemon Company announced that they are suing Pocket Pair, the developer of viral Pokemon with Guns game, Palworld, for patent infringement. Pokemon in Japan. Pocket Pair has responded. Over the years, I've written stories about Nintendo going after games that are clearly inspired by or straight up reusing Nintendo's intellectual property. They're usually fan games that use Nintendo assets or characters in order to make or create new Zelda games, Mario games, Metroid games, etc. All these games are actually very cool and interesting. It's not surprising that they're shut down. Nintendo is doing Pocket Pair. It's quite different. Palworld, which I played a lot, and has not literally reused existing Nintendo assets or character designs. Instead, Palworld blatantly takes some of the defining ideas in game mechanics from Pokemon games and uses them to make an entirely new open world survivor game where players can capture and train creatures and give them machine guns, something the Pokemon games have not done. Oh, don't make me do that. Anyway, yeah, it's pretty bad, like, what's going on here. Now, the game program, according to anyone who claims 1 to 3, wherein the computer changes the likelihood of discuss. Wow, Nintendo, come on. So they can add one more shake and it won't infringe on your patent. Is that what I'm saying? Maybe? You know? So, I mean, there are things that I would encourage you to do with Nintendo games that I'm not allowed to. But again, when Nintendo comes out and does something like that, they really deserve your money. Like, honestly. One quick sideline is here Google has the timeline of events on the various different patents. So you've got this one, which happened in July, was filed in July, granted in September. Okay. Go back up here. Filed in March. Prioritized March. Published in April. Granted in August. Publication in August. Expiration in 2041. Okay. Expiration 2041. Okay. Let's go to this one. Let's see. Filed on February 26. Same year. Prioritized. Published in April. Granted in May. Application granted in May. Publication in May. Expiration 2041. Filed in February. Prioritized February. Published March. Granted June. Published June. Expires 2041. Released January 19th, 2024. Wow. If you liked the content, if you enjoyed it, if you think I deserve it, like, comment, subscribe, leave any criticisms you have or what have you. I appreciate it. Feed that algorithm, like I said. and I will see you guys in the next one.